Hello everyone. I got a new mic, so I'm hoping that helps with the sound, or it could totally knock the sound out. We'll see what happens. So I wanted to just talk about two things today. One is a question I get all the time, and it usually sounds something like, I've tried this, or I'm using this tool or that tool, and my dog's still having a problem, usually on the walk. Most people want to walk with their dogs. So I get that a lot. And consistently, I don't know how many more times I could say, so I figured I'm gonna just make a little video today. Consistently, how can I answer all these emails? So I just figured I'd make a video today. What I've learned, and this is what I'm gonna start doing with these things, is I'm gonna document what's happening, the journey that I've been through, and where I've got sidetracked and where I've found great success. So if anybody, if you guys can hear me, can somebody just let me know, because I have a new microphone. And thank you so much for coming today. Hi Linda, hi Rebecca, hi Jennifer. Hopefully you can hear me. But oh good, you can hear me. Yeah. So the number one thing I constantly hear in these emails, like I said, is what tool it is and where they're having the problem. And constantly, that's what I thought the problem was too, until I realized it's an emotional problem. The dog is having some type of stress. So I'll give you just a random example. Your dog, you take him out on the leash, he sees another dog, the eyes pop out. Even if they don't bark, even if they don't do anything aggressive, just the over. Something in their mind, there's a problem over there. They're not feeling comfortable. How is that solved with a tool? That's the part I've just been trying to harp to people. And I don't want to make it anti-tool, right? If you do whatever you want to do. I'm just, again, documenting what's worked for me. So usually these emails will say something about some type of collars, a harness, or some type of methodology that they've tried. And ultimately it comes down to me. How are you living with the dog? Why should the dog believe you that he should be not reacting to that dog? Why should he believe you that he's not behind you? Why should he believe you that he should be next to you? Why does he believe things like that? So there's something that you're doing in other places that are causing this dog to feel like emotionally we're not connected. So I had this amazing video that I went to the dog park this morning, and I had the typical kind of session where you go and you wonder, am I going to the dog park today? Because I don't always walk in. I look at it and I size it up and I say, this isn't for me today. The energy's something's wrong. And that's okay, right? Because I'm not going out of fear. I'm saying this isn't the right situation for us. I'm going to protect my dogs in these situations, and I'm not going to let them make an error or practice something that I don't want. So if your dog is having problems on the leash, maybe the leash is the problem. So I wanted to just, I want to just kind of let that sink in for a minute. Maybe the leash is the problem. Maybe the dog needs to do things himself to remove some of these stressful situations and say, hey, what's over there? Can I go over there and be curious about that? And you can't do that when you're trapped on a leash. So the emotional stress that the dog is feeling has to be dealt with. It has to be, if you really want the problem to go away, you might be able to put some things on and get the dog to walk behind you and make you feel powerful, and that's good for a little bit. But after a while, you're going to have problems in other places, and you need to be able to control your dogs emotionally, and that's the key. And I have a great little video that I took today. I posted it on Facebook first, and I talked, and I was angry and aggressive like I usually am, because I'm very passionate about this. I've searched for 11 years. 11 years I've been searching for this information. And it's like I'm so excited to be able to help try to bring some clarity to some of these things. That the questions I get all the time. Why is my dog, after I'm doing all these different things, I had the talk yesterday, I had a phone consult with somebody back in New Jersey about the same exact thing. And I'm going to show you an example of how I think this problem gets exacerbated. All right. So I was at the dog park this morning. I had already left. Hopefully you guys can see this. There, maybe. Ooh, I'm going to switch you. There we go. I'm going to start over again. And I took the sound off so nobody thinks that I'm an angry person. I'm just passionate. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people all playing ball with their dog at the dog park. And nobody is interacting with each other. This lady's throwing the ball. Her dog is just hyper-focused here. This dog, hyper-focused here. And you got this little dog right here wandering around saying, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm here to be social and have fun. And like, so he doesn't get the experience of the actual reason they came to the dog park. Now, this was amazing right here. I'm going to pause this. So I posted a video the other day about the dog park. And I got a lot of feedback, which is great, about why, people's beliefs about what toys do and balls and dog parks and antisocial and all that kind of stuff. This video right here was the most fascinating to me, because this guy right here, I might not have any scientific studies, I might not have any proof, except for 11 years of going into clients' homes and hearing the same problem. And as Buck Brannaman says, observe, remember, and compare. I hear this over and over and over again. This guy's sitting here encouraging his dog to get excited and vocalize, and then rewards the excitement and the encouragement of the bark. So the dog's barking at him. Do it, being pushy. Throw the ball, do it. Come on, do it. This is the same guy that will call me and say my dog charges the door. This is the same guy that will tell me that his dog does all these other things that he doesn't like. You are connected to these things. Right? You take your dog to the dog park and you throw the ball for them, you are a participant in that. That's what your dog feels around you. So when you tell him to not do things, why the hell should he listen to you when you reward this state of mind more than you reward the state of mind of telling him what to do? Why would he listen to you? How can he listen to you if you're only sharing an excitement state of mind? Why would this dog listen to him? It's fascinating. People don't put these pieces together. This is also the state of mind that can turn into chasing bikers. This is the state of, he can't figure out why he's doing this. What's the purpose of this? It's not for me to eat. I just chase. And then one of the other things that was happening is this dog would then start to chase him. He's figured it out already. I bet you these people play ball with their dog, right? There's the lady right there recalling her dog because she's scared the dog's going to socialize. Look at her right here. Right here. Look at her. Pause. Let's see if I can pause it. Did the dog turn around yet? Right there. She's over here somewhere. Recalling her dog right there. What are you recalling him for? It's a dog park. You're supposed to socialize. Oh, because I don't know what you're going to do, and you don't have your ball. So I don't know how to control you. Anyway, I don't want to make this totally anti-ball. You might have a subordinate dog that can play ball, and that's fine. Like, that's super cool. Like, I appreciate that. And I have one of those too. I have a Shih Tzu that would never bite somebody. She would never, ever, ever bite somebody. But it doesn't mean that I need to play ball with her. So ultimately, I didn't want to make this about anti-ball, but it was just fascinating to me, because these are the phone calls I'll get, like from another trainer or whoever, just saying like, oh, and they never think that these other activities that their clients are doing can totally affect everything. So instead of dealing with all those things, they put a collar on them or come up with some other thing that they're tricking the dog to do to behave, instead of actually looking at what's the environment, what's this dog's reality, and what does he believe. Does he believe me? Does he believe his opinion? What's happening? So the moral of the story for me, and I think I got a little sidetracked, which is fine. That's what I do. When I get the emails what I start to do is ask a lot of questions, and I find that these are questions that these people they're not getting asked. Like, well, why does that make sense? Well, why does it make sense? I don't know. Ask the questions. Do you find a pattern? Like, is this something consistently that's happening? And if you remove something, try something. Say, hey, maybe this is a problem. Maybe this is a problem. And then maybe it's not. Then put it back in the formula. But make sure you're not just covering up bigger emotional problems with just little band-aids. Make sure you're actually looking at the dog and saying, like, why are you experiencing this feeling right now? This is not a stressful situation. You've learned that it's stressful. You've learned to behave in certain ways. How can we change that? How can we look at you and say, are you fearful? Do you need to socialize more? Are you dominant, so we need to do other things to show you that that you're not emboldened in the environment? So put a plan for the environment and how to emotionally control the dog, and I find that you can start removing the tools faster. People ask me, another question I get a lot of times is, how do I control my dogs around my chickens? Like, I purposely put the video camera out here by the chickens. I control my dogs around the chickens by only telling them what I don't like. So then when I talk to them, when they do something that I don't like, I can tell them and they listen. That's a very, very important, a very, very important piece of, the whole puzzle here. It affects the walk. It affects going to the dog park, and I've said it a million times. So I've had a couple different bullet points in this video. One is, if you're having problems on the walk, don't deal with a tool. Look at the emotions involved with it. Really step back and saying, what is this dog? What is this dog feeling? And most of the time, I find the great success is not having the owners there. So I like to bring the dogs to my house, and I like to see, what is the dog going to do? Who is this dog really? Right? What has he learned around the owners, and who is he really? Is he really as emboldened as he thinks he is? Or is he a big chicken right away? So that tells me that the owners are doing something in the environment. So I don't need tools. I just need them to be something different. I don't need them to do anything. I can just tell them, do these couple things by changing the way you are. Right? Instead of doing this, do this. Instead of do that, because I know that sounds the opposite, because I'm saying be, but then telling people to do. But it's not about teaching the dog skills. It's about being a different way, and that's kind of it. I don't really know. It's probably a little bit all over the place, and I appreciate you guys tuning in, because this is something I'm super passionate about, and I promise that I'm not angry about it. I'm just passionate, and my passion turns loud. Which is another thing. This is, this was supposed to be short, run into the gym. It's turning into a little longer. To go back onto the tool thing again, this is something I've struggled with, and I guess you guys are going to be so surprised, but I was diagnosed with ADHD or whatever, however people feel about that, whatever, that's fine. I did medication for a little while, a long time ago, but one of the things I started to realize, and my friend Heather says this all the time. My friend Heather Beck has this great saying. She says, you can't make an introvert an extrovert. And it's so true. And I remember growing up constantly, people telling me, Gary, sit down. Gary, stop fidgeting. Gary, do these different things. Gary, do these. I wasn't fitting into their program. But nobody tried to change their program and say, well, maybe we have something different. Maybe we can get this person to try to do this. Let's identify where they're coming from. But they can't do that because they have 30 kids in their group. Then come here, Crete. And she's the one, come here, Cookie. She's the one that made me understand that. Because I tried so hard to control her instead of letting her be. She's the main reason why I've been going to the dog park, not only to learn, but she needs to move and experience at a speed that's appropriate for her. If not, it causes stress. So when I take her for a walk and a dog charges her behind the fence, because she's trapped on a leash, she can't run. A dog would never cross into territory, get confronted by somebody and then stay. It just doesn't make sense. So when we have those problems, so what do? I have to honor her nervous system, right? So they started to give me things in school. Here, fidget with this thing, do this thing. Hey, you have a little extra time on this test, right? And those things started to then honor who I was and who came to the program. So I started to do a little bit better. It's like, these people actually care about. I don't know if I made these decisions consciously. I was, 11 years old, but I remember feeling a little bit different once people started to want to know, like, well, what happens here? Like, why do you fidget? Like, I don't know, I just do it. Okay, so I can't look at Queet and say, oh, I call her Queet, sorry, her name's Kita, Monkey, whatever. I can't look and say, why do you fidget? She came that way. She's genetically predisposed to move a lot. So when I take her places, she goes like this. All the time. We take her to the beach 6 hours, she's like this. Everybody else is laying down. That's her. And if I try to control that, I'm going to cause stress in her. And I know that personally from my own feelings. When I was told to sit down and told to do these things, you get locked down. And I thank her immensely for bringing that to my attention, because it's changed the way I live with her. It's made me grow. I was nervous about going to the dog park. Don't go to the dog park. They're terrible. They are. I mean, they're not for every dog, and not everybody has to go. It's not like it's this big, great thing. I needed it because I need to help her get fixed. You're not going to fix this problem, some of the problems that we've had by just walking on a leash. She needs to go to a dog park or a dog beach and move at the speed that she needs to move at, and socialize with the things that she needs to socialize with at the speed and time that she needs. If I'm on a leash and I'm a second long, it could cause stress. Boom, and then she goes over. Or if she's not on a leash and she wants to go 3 feet over there to smell that dog, she can do it. So she relieves her own stress. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with the tools and the leashes and the walking and all those wonderful things. If you try to control the dog physically and not honor who they are, that's a problem, and you're going to keep running into problems. So make sure when you're identifying the solutions, they're taking into account not just your program, but what the dog needs. Say, this dog is like this, so we need to come up with a solution. So one of the things I really have worked hard with is I have bad knees, and my mentor Brandon tells me she has to run. When she's outside, she has to run. She has to, because it causes more stress to move slow. So I can't run all the time. I go do the elliptical at the gym, but if I can't run with her consistently and I want to get her out and do things. We went to the art walk the other night. By taking her to the dog park and doing all these other things, it makes it easier for her, because she doesn't realize I don't have to meet every dog. I don't have to go see every person, because I can do that, right? When I go to the dog park and somebody comes in hot, I back up. That's the same thing as a dog coming in and charging the fence. So now when we walk by and these little chihuahuas, oh my God, they hide under the things and they explode at you. They're good at it, man. Good little predators. She moves backwards instead of locking up and packing up and going, what are we doing? Right? She'll move backwards, go, whoa, what's that? And she'll want to run. So at those times we move. And that's honoring the dog's nervous system. So to go all the way back to the beginning, the email that I get most about the tool and having problems on your walk, there's two things. Can you control your dog emotionally to follow? Does your dog just follow you naturally? That if he doesn't, then you don't have any business. It's going to be tough taking your dog out to walk, because if you can't control him and get him to follow you in calmer environments, he's never going to be able to pay attention. So you can teach him how to follow in more adrenaline-filled environments. And then lastly, maybe the problem is honoring the dog's nervous system. If you can speed up when your dog is feeling problems, you might be giving them the solution. Instead of fighting, flight. Right? If you're feeling, let's go. And that's what, I've learned this from street dogs in LA. If you watch street dogs in LA, when they move through other dogs' territory, they move fast. They don't hang around. It just doesn't make sense to them. So when we have them on leashes, and if your dog's having problems crossing into different dogs' territories and going into front lawns, then you're going to have, that's going to be the problem. So moving faster could be a good solution for your dog, but ultimately there's usually environmental things that are happening, and that's why you're not getting the walk that you're looking for. Because if you want to tell your dog what you don't like, you should be able to do that, whether you're on a walk at a dog park or whatever. So focus on telling your dog what you don't like so you can influence their mind, because that's really important. I don't know if there's any questions. Love this. Oh, hi, Kathy. It's ignorance. They just don't know. And I love that. I mean, I have been so hesitant to share because ultimately I feel like a narcissist. Like, who the hell cares about my opinion, right? But you know what? I get emails constantly. I have the kind of community that emails me privately and doesn't post in groups. And my wife is the same way. She has 35,000 people on her newsletter. When she posts it, she might get 10 likes, but she might get 50 emails saying how much this email made their week, right? And that's cool, right? So I just started to say, you know what? I'm just going to document my journey. That's it. That's all I can do. I can just go through and say the things that I've found, and if it resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, there's a lot of other people out there. There's a lot of other people out there with opinions. And like I said, I've spent 11 years searching through opinions, and ultimately it came down to facts. Who's doing it every single day, and who is getting results that their clients are thrilled about. And I'm talking about like real results, not management results. And some dogs you have to manage, but I'm talking about like, I can't believe my dog used to do this and I don't even think about that anymore. Wow. Like, that's holy Jesus. I don't have to like remember these steps or do anything. It's just so simple. Tell your dogs what you don't like and socialize the shit out of them. I mean, I just, man, like 11 years ago, if I had those two things was just like, I'd have been like, oh, okay. And it happened to me when I took Keita in for a consultation with Brandon. Brandon told me, socialize the shit out of this dog. You have a good dog here, right? I got the video. I posted the videos recently of Keita going to Brandon's facility and doing a day there. I paid for a consultation because I'm just curious, what the hell, you know, what is she like? I'm curious, you know, what this professional thinks. And it was really fascinating. It was, eye-opening that I heard the information. I've been listening and really absorbing it and thinking that I'm absorbing it. I know it's like they say, I was listening, but was I hearing and not listening? Whatever that phrase is. But and it just clicked to me about a month ago or 2 months ago, and that's why I've been hitting the dog park hard. I took all 3 of my dogs down to the art walk, and I purposely did not move away. I walked right past things. I walked right through people. I went through the experience of everything that I've been training for and trying to socialize my dogs with. Did I protect my dogs? Yes, right? There's kids that are going to reach out and do dominant things that my dogs could misinterpret. I'm going to protect my dogs. There's people that were drunk. This one guy was behind me, he was drunk, and he was touching my dogs. And he says, well, this dog doesn't care if I touch him, and the other one did. And I said, well, I do. I have a problem if you touch my dog. Stop it. Like, they didn't ask for you to touch them. It's just like craziness to me. So just, socialize. And I know it sounds simple, but just tell your dogs what you don't like. And if you don't even know what that means, just remove the lot of the good boys. Brandon has a great video on his YouTube channel recently with a friend of mine whose dog does daycare there, who was dog aggressive, like has definitely put puncture wounds in dogs many times. Brandon had her on a 30-foot leash and basically just said to her, that dog is mine. And they walked right past. And that's now a dog for the last 2 months, Rachel, who's been living with owners who just tell the dog what they don't like. That's it. I don't like that. So then when we're walking past something and my dogs are thinking about something, I can tell them, I don't like that. And you know what they do? They listen. Because they're not confused about, well, is this one of the good boy times? You only mean excitement because you throw the ball. Or you only mean excitement because you run around and you chase me, right? No. I want my dogs to be super social. They have great times. They go to the beach. They live a lot of life. I try to post a lot of videos of my dogs living life. They've traveled hundreds of thousands of miles going across the country, and that's not an exaggeration, and lived months at other people's homes. Socialization is the number one thing in my life that I try to focus on, because that's the thing that I think people want. They just don't know how to get it yet. They're trying other things, thinking that's what they get. That guy took his dog to the dog park, that video I showed, and he threw the ball thinking he was doing good. He was thinking he was giving love to his dog. But he's also the same person that when I talk to him like this will go, oh my God, yes, I see what you're saying. And then they'll take one little piece away. If they're able to do it. Sometimes the human loves it too much that they don't want to take it away. It's for them. I had a bad day. I love watching my dog be happy. then that's a whole nother thing. You know, those are the kind of people that are going to buy all the collars and do all these other things to control the dog physically, when really they're the one with the emotional problem and they're not dealing with the dog that way. I don't know. Anything else? I hope I didn't bore anybody. Oh man, Anita, I can't thank you enough. That like really makes me emotional right now. I really struggle with like coming out of my bubble here, and because I get, you know, who wants to get tons of negative feedback? Nobody. All I want to do is help. I have nothing to sell anybody. I don't have a program or a seminar to sell. All I've done for 11 years is try to find the best information to have the best job of really fixing this dog. That's my emotional journey, and I'll share more about it, because if I talk about it now, I'll probably cry. And I'm not ready for that yet. That's a little intense. You're not going to get me to cry yet. But that's what, so all I'm trying to do is just share. So if your opinion doesn't align with mine, that's great. Like, that's fine. So like, I appreciate that, Anita. I don't know where I was going with that. I think I got a little flustered when you said that, and I appreciate that immensely. And if there's anything I can do for you, Anita, hit me up. I mean, all these people that are on here, email me anytime. If there's things that you want to talk about, this is all I want to do, is just share like my journey with my dogs. And, you know, I don't talk a lot about clients' dogs, because this is some of what I'll be talking about in like the online course that I'm doing for marketing and more business related, not dog training, is we'll talk about that later. But ultimately, this is what, if you want to get more information from me, go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, because that's where I'm going to start pumping information to the people that really want to listen. The people that comment and come with their own agenda, that's great. I'm not going to listen to them. And that's why I'm going to start using social media just for fun. Maybe I'll do some live posts. I'll take pictures of my dogs and share videos. But my newsletter and my podcast that'll be coming out shortly, that's where I'm going to be pumping all my energy into, and really trying to get the best people in the world at what they do to come help the community that I want to build, for whatever reason that is. If it's dog training people, if it's marketing, if you need social media help, if you need email and newsletter help. I mean, these are all the things that I want to start sharing more of. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm a little bit all over the place, but that's me and that's who I am. So if it annoys you, sorry, that's who I am. I'm not going to change it. If you think it's mildly cute, then stay around. Thank you so much, everybody. And there's the chickens.